4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Greetings, fellow barbarians. It is I, Alan Odinson, and this is the Barbarian Lounge podcast. I want to thank everybody for hanging with me today. I just came inside, guys, probably an hour ago, as I'm prone to doing this, from doing a hard sparring session. We had every now and then we like to kind of go hard. Most of the times when you're training, you don't really want to go like full on a lot of times because you need to get a lot of drilling work in there. But reality is dictated. All martial theory tends to fall out when reality jumps in there, okay? There's a lot of theory in the world of martial arts, which I've talked about several times on a lot of different shows. And the way to really truly decide whether or not you're dealing in reality or dealing in theory is to test it on somebody who does not want it done to them. So, we do this every now and then. In somewhat of a violent, controlled aspect. Now, when we go, we put the we Vaseline up and everything, mouth guards and everything, because typically we're using MMA gloves. We do not do this in boxing gloves. We save the boxing gloves for other drills. But on days like today is a day that we're going to, for lack of a better term, fight. So there aren't a lot of schools that are doing that sort of shit anymore. And whereas a lot of schools will test their students by making them, perform certain moves and everything. I like to test my students based on their performance under pressure. So, it's good to have those moments. But if you notice, my voice is a little bit raspy, is a little bit, you hear me coughing and going every now and then. That's part of the byproduct of it, because I'm not one of those instructors that sits on the sidelines, guys. I am not one of those instructors that sits on the sidelines. I am one of those instructors that gets out there. And I warm up with the class, I fight with the class, and I lead by example. That's the way I was always taught. All the good instructors I ever had taught me that way, and that's the method I follow. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of the broadcast, let me go ahead and get that housekeeping out of the way. First off, our website is thebarbarianlounge.com. Go there, check it out. There's a lot of things on there to keep you busy for a little while. While you're there, I urge you to check out our shop. If you go into our shop, you will find our Thuggy Strangulation Cords. Now, I guess you can say our world-famous Thuggy Strangulation Cords. I don't like to use the terminology world-famous unless it's actually sold worldwide. Thus far, we have managed to attain that here at the Barbarian Lounge. Our Thuggy Strangulation Cords are very, very popular overseas, where some people, across the pond, they've been disarmed by their government, and the government's just opened the door and letting in the enemy. Invasions aren't even done anymore by guns and swords and hordes of people bashing through the walls. No, they just open the door and let them in. Needless to say, that leaves a lot of people out in the dark. And here at the Barbarian Lounge, we want to give our listeners, we want to give the people of Europe especially because that's where a lot of these are going. We want to give them the option of having some means of protecting themselves. And the Thuggy Strangulation Cord is absolutely something that is it's low key. It's something you can keep on you. You can take any and everywhere. Trust me, guys, I've tried it. I'll just leave it at that. And it gives you options to protect yourself. So go there, check it out, pick up one of those. And if you want to support the broadcast, they're all handcrafted by me. Yours truly. I handcraft each and every single one of them, usually when I'm sitting around watching something on the tube at night. So if you want to pick one up, there's two options there. Go there and check it out. If you want to learn how to use it, I got some videos that you'll find in the BarbarianLounge.com Facebook page, or I think it's the Barbarian Lounge podcast Facebook page. You can go there and find some of those videos. I'm actually considering, I've had a few requests from people, and I want to put this out to the listeners. A few people have requested a DVD of Thuggy strangulation cord techniques. It'd probably be, 30, 40 minutes or something like that of an instructional video for people to kind of go with the cord. So if you may be interested in that, let me know in the comments section. When I post this site up, or when I post this show up on the website, or when I post this up on the Facebook page, or if you just hear this as a member and you want to comment there, or however way you want to do it, you can go there and let me know if you're interested in the DVD, because to be quite honest with you, I want to be sure there's enough people that are interested in one before I go through the process of shooting it. Also, while you're there on the BarbarianLounge.com, check out that donate button. Now, that donate button, you will have two options to help support the show. One of which is a one-time PayPal donation, which is 100% as advertised. There's not a whole lot left that needs to be said about that. If you don't understand what one-time PayPal donation is, you probably aren't very computer literate, so there's not a whole lot I can do for you. But if you'd like to actually get a little more out of the game, if you like to put a little more skin in the game, the other option is to become a member on our Patreon site. So you click that Patreon link, it'll take you to our Patreon page, which is the member site for the Barbarian Lounge. Now, as a member, you are entitled to certain perks and benefits. One of those is you get all of our shows early. Yes, that's right. All of the Barbarian Lounge shows are done early there. So while some people have to wait a week to get the next show, as soon as the show is finished, like say as soon as this one gets done, it's going up immediately on the website for the members. So that's a great option that you can utilize if you just want to get those shows early. The other perk and benefit is that you get 4 exclusive members-only shows each and every month. Yes, that's right. We do a total of 8 shows a month, so most of you that aren't members are missing out on half the fun. Okay, you want to get a little skin in the game. You want to get a little bit more into the fight. You don't want to be a spectator, but you want to be actively on the field. Becoming a member is the way to go, because those people that are willing to put a little skin in the game, they get a little more of Odinson than that I don't like to put out over the open airwaves. Sometimes I like to keep things educational on there as well. And, the members are the lifeblood of this show. Plain and simple. The other perk and benefit of being a member is you get complete 100% access to our archives dating all the way back to episode 1. So while we are rapidly approaching our 100th episode, we are well over 100 episodes now when you compare our member shows in there. I believe our member shows are up to the upper 50s or like 60. Well, I think we might be at like 60 or 61 of the member shows, and this is episode 96 here. So we're well over that mark. If you're not a member, though, you've been missing out on half the fun, guys. I'm telling you. We get a lot of good shows on there, and I think you guys would definitely get a lot out of it. And the time has come, man, to stop standing on the sidelines, guys. I mean, the enemy's beating at the door constantly. They're constantly there, and they are mobilizing. And we have got to start supporting our local radio broadcasters, our local podcasters, man. As I've said numerous times, podcasting is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not a get-rich-slow scheme in the least bit. It does take money to keep these shows running, and as much as I would love to just sit here and just toss stuff out for free, I tried that in the beginning, and that was when I was getting attacked, and I had to come out of pocket to keep this show alive. So I need your support, folks. So go there, get a Thuggy strangulation cord, become a member. One-time PayPal donation. There's a lot of options that you can use to get in the fight and support this broadcast. Another thing you could do is support our sponsors. Yes, our sponsors out there. Odinson Archery. Traditional bows made from non-traditional materials. Go there and check it out. OdinsonArchery.com. All kind of archery gear on the site. There's we got repeating crossbows, medieval armor-piercing bodkin arrows, Mongolian-style bows. I mean, Odinson Archery is blowing up, and you need to find out what everybody is talking about. Right now, we are currently, you guys have been hearing a lot about stuff that's been going on in South Africa. I hope some of you have. I've talked about it a little bit on here, but South Africa right now, a lot of the white farmers are just getting smashed over there. Well, let me tell you something. While their government has done its best to disarm them, Odinson Archery has done our best to arm them. Yes, that's right. For a while now, and then obviously, I'm not going to give any names or specifics, but for a while now, we have been selling bows to people in South Africa. And you know what? It's not the best in the world. They might not have a gun at the beginning of the fight, but if they blast one of these fucking invaders with an arrow and put them down, they may have a gun in the next fight. Okay, it brings me while you know what, it may not be the thing that saves their life. It gives them a chance. And a lot of people talk about sign petitions and do this and expose that, and we can just petition President Trump to do something. That's all fine and dandy. Odinson Archery has been there with the backing of the Barbarian Lounge. Odinson Archery has been there in the fight trying to get these people armed and give them a fighting fucking chance. So I am very, very proud to know that I am helping these people in the best way that I possibly can. I can sit here and complain, I can expose this, I can sign this petition, I can beg the president, but at the end of the day, what are we doing to actively help these people? Arming them with bows and arrows is about the best fucking thing I can think of at the moment. All right, until I figure out how to get a a fighting force over there. So check it out, OdinsonArchery.com. Support small business. Support the Barbarian Lounge. Support them by getting your archery gear at OdinsonArchery.com. Now, I'm very, very happy for this. We also, folks, have a new sponsor. Yes, I love new sponsors, actually, because I love helping people, getting their small businesses up off the ground, especially if they're good, good, strong people. And I've been talking to these guys for a little bit, and they definitely fit that role. They definitely fit the mold of what we're looking for here. And, this show, we talk a lot about strength. We talk a lot about being preparedness, martial training, these sorts of things. And I'm happy to say that our one of our new sponsors definitely exemplifies all of this. I'm gonna read a little bit of this here to you. So we've got a sponsor here that's offering personal training, cardio training, weight training, youth fitness, and you guys know how important that is with the obesity epidemic that's going on in this nation right now. We know that the communist left wants to have a weak next generation. This is someone who is promoting strength for the next generation. Small group training, conditioning for combat sports, nutrition counseling. Yes, in-person or online training today with Aaron P. Cable. Yes, that's right. That's ERIN Cable. CABLE. You can check them out. I'm not going to put I'm going to actually post this on the site. I don't want to put their number out over line, but you can email them. You can also find them on Facebook as well. That's probably one of the easier ways, just to find Aaron it's Aaron, ERIN, Aaron Page, PAIGE, Cable, CABLE. And go there, find them on Facebook. I'm going to post this up. I'm not going to put the email out just yet. I tell you what, I will put the email out because this is it's PTAF's Fitness. So I'm going to read you the email here, so you can email her here to get that personal training. p.tafs1@gmail.com. And you'll be able to go to the show notes and be able to see this actual flyer here. But Erin, I've talked to her. I've talked to her husband. If you've ever seen Erin, man, she is definitely fits the category of a strong woman. She is definitely, you can tell she is someone that knows her craft. She's the wife of a former professional fighter as well. She's trained Krav Maga, jiu-jitsu. So I mean, this is not one of these personal trainers that is just out here that just took a little fucking course and was able to get a little certificate to hang on the wall. It's not some gigantic, neck beard, mouth breathing type of person. No, Erin is definitely the way to go when you're looking for some good personal training. So check them out, and I will leave this. I will put this actually on the website so everybody will be able to find it. So very, very happy to have them on board here. Like I said, from a small business standpoint, small business is so important, and strength, wellness, and health is vital for what is coming down the line, people. I mean, whether it's just, whether it's thinking about the next generation. And I talk a lot about the next generation, but I mean, I've always been of the opinion that a father, a mother even, in the eyes of your child, you should be almost like a god to them. That's the way I've always looked at it. You should be like a god. They should look up to you and you go, damn, that's my dad, or that's my mom. And what kind of image do you want them to have of you? Do you want them to have this image of some fat person that can barely breathe? Do you want to have whether you can barely climb a flight of stairs without getting winded? You can't go out and toss ball with them. I mean, guys, and we can all say, oh, I know how to diet, I know how to work out and everything, but it's different when you got somebody that knows the ins and outs of these things. So, check them out there, man. I want to give everybody options that they can use, and, supporting small business, somebody that's definitely trying to get off the ground and get their business rolling. That is what we're all about here at the Barbarian Lounge. So I think that's about it, guys. So let me get into the meat and potatoes of things here. What I wanted to talk about briefly was I've discussed this a bit on different shows, just kind of like went into it slightly. The concepts of how the communist left tends to use their strategy of attack. Okay. Now, we all hear the notion of this isn't checkers, this is chess, everything, and when we think of strategy games, when I look at somebody and I say think of a warfare strategy game, everybody goes chess, right? Because chess is the classic game. Us being here in Western society, that's immediately where our minds go. But there's another game of strategy that a lot of people don't think about. Many people may not have even heard of the game. And that's the game called Go. And from my understanding, the game of Go, I don't remember if it was originally I believe it was originally a Chinese game that was adopted by the Japanese. I'm almost 100% sure on that. But it's the classic game of strategy. It is an Asian mindset strategy sort of game. And a lot of people don't really factor in the concepts of the game because, quite honestly, most people don't know it. Everybody thinks when it comes to strategy, chess is the way to go. And yes, chess is an absolute wonderful strategy game. But, folks, at the end of the day, we have to understand there's other games out there. And when it comes to the Asian mindset of game playing, especially as it relates to the game of Go, we see the strategies of Go adopted by the communist parties, especially by the left. So it's important for us to understand exactly what game is going on here. Because the fact of the matter is if the communists are playing the game of Go, and we're playing the game, we're under the impression they're playing the game of chess, right? And it'd be different if they thought we were playing Go, but we're actually playing chess too. But for the most part, they are doing what they do, and we are responding to what their attacks or their moves are. Well, for us, we're using the classic strategy of chess is domination of the board. All right. Now, you dominate the board by using your pieces to slowly pick off the opposing team's pieces to put you in position to strike to take out the king. All right? That's the whole goal of the game of chess, is to put everything in position, eliminate pieces along the way to attack the king. That's the whole goal. It doesn't matter what part of the board you're working at. The whole entire goal is we have to find a way to get the grand poobah here. We got to get the top guy. We take him out, the rest of you'll chop the head off the snake falls, right? Well, I've always thought that whole ideology behind chop the head off the snake and when it dies, but the snake can still bite you, right? It can still bite you, and the body will still move for a while. So the snake is still dangerous even when the head is removed. Now, with the classic concept of Go, if you've never seen the game of Go, let me explain it to you. So basically, you've got your board, and you have these tokens. They're basically like little bullet points, right? Like little dots, all right? You got black dots and white dots. And the goal of Go is to try and control as much territory as you possibly can on the board. There's no concept of capturing a king. There's no concept of getting towards any other goal other than controlling territory. The fewer amount of pieces that you can use to control territory will actually enable you to take over the entire board very, very quickly. So it doesn't necessarily matter how many pieces you have on the board or how many pieces the other guy has on the board. If you can manage to control territory on the board with these little dots and pieces, you win the game. And the goal is to keep doing this and keep taking control of the board until the other side no longer has any moves that enable their pieces to not be captured. And you can obviously capture pieces and everything, but the goal is really just to kind of cut off the board and take territory. Now, I think it's important to really understand the value in this sort of strategy. If you think about how the West, you know, and all of the warfare that we do, mainly it's designed at getting the guy at the top, right? We want to get this location. We want to take this location right here. And if we can take this location and eliminate anybody in the way on that path, well, we win the game, right? Whereas if someone is playing Go, as the communist parties like to do, Go is the classic strategy of guerrilla warfare. If somebody is playing Go, the idea will be, let them take these large locations. Let's let them take the capital, right? But they can take the capital, but if we're playing Go, we actually will put our people in that control the water supply. And we will take our people and put them in places that will actually, could control the food going in and out of there. Or, stuff like that. So they're not so much concerned about what you take, but their strategic position on the board. Now, if we look at the communist left, the left here in the United States, we have to think about the way they play the game, okay? The way that, and I hear this from people a lot, and I try to correct them on this, and I try to enlighten them to exactly what we're facing here. If you look at the way that the left operates, they lack sufficient numbers to destroy the right. 100%. We absolutely 100% have them outnumbered. Even if you take like the different divisions, if you just take right versus left, let's forget alt-right, alt-light, and all that shit. Let's take everybody that's on the right side versus everybody on the left side. The right side vastly outnumbers them. Therefore, we have plenty of pieces on the board. We have the ability to dominate the board. I mean, the enemy, they don't stand a chance, right? And we laugh at them. Ha! You guys don't even have the numbers. What makes you think you're going to be able to pull that off? But the left is clever in the way they operate. They're not concerned about numbers. They're not concerned about conversion. They're not concerned about any of these things. They're concerned about controlling the right places, controlling the most territory on the board. So let's look at what they control. And you tell me who is dominating the board here. Okay? So the left, they have control of our schools, right? You see constantly. We saw when Donald Trump was elected. We saw the kindergarten teacher, die, using the squirt gun to spray him in the face in front of all of our students. We've seen how history has been skewed in our schools. We've seen all the way to the point now where we've got people that truly believe that the Civil War was all about slavery, right? And that's what's being taught. Oh, it's the war for slavery. No, guys. You have to go, you don't just have to go outside of your normal schooling to learn the truth about these things. And then, once you get out of that, if you want to get into a position of, say you want to be a doctor, say you want to be a lawyer, say you want to be a professor, whatever it is, if you want to get a higher education to achieve typically a higher status in the workforce, you have to go to college, also known as the communist re-education centers. You get in there, you're young, you're susceptible to people's, to fitting into the group, for one, and they get you in there and the brainwashing begins. You have a lot of peer pressure and you got these professors whom you assume have your best interest in mind. You have them up there telling you that communism's a great thing and Marxism is the reason we have roads here and all this other bullshit that I've heard from these people. So they control, and trust me, you guys remember, you guys probably remember some of the guests I've had on here that's talked about this. I know people who are in positions in colleges. People who I've talked to, people whom I know personally, and I've talked to about this. And they're like, yeah, these colleges are crazy. I mean, it's absolutely insane to work here, man. They have absolute control over the education system. They have absolute control over the colleges. And a lot of times, this is where the seed gets planted. So, the communist left has controlled the position on the board of education system. The communist left has also taken control over positions of certain positions of power in government. You don't have to look much further than the Democratic Party. A lot of these people up there, fucking Pelosi and what's the other guy's name? I forget his name. That's how unimportant these people are to me. But you get these people up there that they're trying to push through communist agendas. And they've got these people have been put in positions of power to where they can actually push forth the legislation that they want to have that will actually enable some of these communist laws to come into play. They occupy positions in Congress. They occupy positions in local government. They occupy positions in state government. Just put your people in the right positions to make the right plays at the right time. Have you ever asked yourself that, when these shootings happen, especially this last one that happened in Florida, it's almost like all of the commies just activated at once, right? You had the kids all at once, and the senators all at once, and then the entertainers all at once. Just boom, everybody just hit all at once. It was basically like, from a gun standpoint, it was basically like the Tet Offensive, which the Tet Offensive in Vietnam, the Tet Offensive is the classic strategy of go. You have the president there of the North Vietnamese putting their people in the right positions all at once. They activated. They slowly but surely put their people in the right positions and then, bam, activated all at the same time. When they do that, it becomes difficult to fight them on multiple fronts. That's what we saw. We basically saw the gun law version of the Tet Offensive here in the United States. Now, they've run into pushback, obviously. But that should give us an idea of the game these people play. Look at the entertainment world. The entertainment world shapes culture in this country. It just does. I don't care what it is. Well, I don't watch TV. That's great that you don't watch TV. Most of the world does. And that shapes the culture of the world. All you have to do is look throughout history at how cultures have been shaped via their entertainment. When the gangster rap culture came in, look what it did to the black community. Now you've got the weak, whiny, cuckish white man that's pushed in most of these sitcoms now. The wimpy white husband. What are we seeing from people? What are we seeing from the next generation as we see articles coming out talking about the triumph of the beta male? That's all part of the media and entertainment world. The entertainment world, why do you think that when these things happen, that all these people who know that they're going to be alienating a large portion of their audience, why do you think they have no problem doing these things? They know that they've got you under control. They know that you're going to buy their shit. They know the level of power that they have. And yes, they are. Base purpose, they are nothing but a bunch of court jesters, worthy of only being scoffed and laughed at. But to most of the world, they're important people. And it doesn't matter what I think. Doesn't matter what you think. What does the majority think? Because unfortunately, these are the morons that are out there pushing through policy and rules. So in the classic strategy of Go, what do we have? We have very few pieces, but the pieces they have, they're controlling the entertainment, they're controlling the schools. Well, gee, what is most of that aimed towards? Younger generation, isn't it? You look at all the TV shows. I said something the other day about, if you look at most of your TV shows, you see nothing but, when I watch TV, which is very rare, but when I do, all I see is product placement. That's all I see. And I'm not talking about Pepsi and Coke. I'm talking about cultural Marxist product placement. Things designed to make you change your ways. But again, it's not aimed at you. It's aimed at the next generation. It's aimed at the young, impressionable people. It's like the whole triumph of the beta male bullshit, right? That whole thing, the whole beta male culture and building it up, that shit really dug its roots in with the TV show The Big Bang Theory. It did. And if you like Big Bang Theory, that's fine. I'm not judging there, but you have to understand what it is. It was the glorification of the weak beta male. And what do you see in a show like that? You see the weak beta male getting what? The hot girl, right? And all the hot girls, you ever see them typically going with ugly girls? Not usually. Most of them are pretty hot. So what does that say to the next generation? Oh, well, this is obviously how you get women, right? And slowly but surely, what do we start seeing? You know what I'm talking about. You see it out there. I don't have some kind of special eyes that I see these things. You're out in public. You see what's happening. It's this push to the next generation. This is moving and controlling territory on the board, designed as a classic psyop to change your perception of what reality actually is. And if we see they've got that, then we look at the other piece they control, the media. Oh, well, the mainstream media is a joke. Yes, it is. But to most people who have no interest whatsoever in going and researching shit, we live in a fast food society, folks. We do. Everybody wants things quick, fast, in a hurry. So rather than going and researching shit, what's it easiest to do? Well, just turn on the news and get our fast food news. Now I'm informed. That's the way most people are. But the beautiful thing that I can say is I do think in a game of Go, that shows like mine and shows like some of the other podcasters that are out there, we're starting to push back on this because a lot of people are turning off the chatter and starting to turn on voices like mine. And let me tell you something, folks, that gives me power. Oh, it just, I can feel it just course through my mind when I think about it. When I think about every time, every syllable that comes out of my mouth, every time my mouth is heard over this mic, that it's just damaging their control over that board. Oh, it just, well, I tell you what, it just makes me so happy. But for the most part, controlling areas of media, CNN's a joke. Well, to a lot of people, it's not. A lot of these local news areas, man, they buy these stories. They just read the news lines. Most people aren't doing true investigative journalism anymore. Most of the time, it's just, they take the fast food approach as well. So when you look at the left controlling the media aspect of things, well, they're starting to shape reality now. So we have very few pieces on the board, but while we are dominating it, as far as who's controlling territory, well, we've got the control of the media, we've got control of the entertainment, we have control over the education system. Those are some pretty big things. We also have control over local government and other higher ranking government. That's pretty big. That's pretty big plays there. We also see where they're controlling certain aspects of business. You have larger companies, especially financial institutions, Amazon, PayPal, Square. Some of these things they're even shutting down people on the right-wing side. YouTube and Google, shutting down people on the right, closing out their channels, and just making it difficult for them to advertise and do what they do. That's a pretty big piece, because if they can silence you on that aspect, it doesn't matter. You can run around and say, oh, freedom of speech, they don't give a fuck about that. Oh, I'm a protest. Oh, we're going to sign a petition. They don't give a fuck about that. They're controlling that aspect of the board. So we have to understand that this is the way the game is played. Even if you think about it, I was thinking about this today as it relates to controlling the board via Go. Even if you look at it like jiu-jitsu, right? I like to use analogies in jiu-jitsu and also, I guess you could even say in stand-up striking as well. But jiu-jitsu is a good aspect because you can think about it from a ground standpoint. Even if I am super aggressive on the ground, right, and I'm dominating them, right, I've got top position and I feel like I'm dominating. The thing is if they're controlling the position, I may be doing a lot of stuff, and I may be physically strong, I may be throwing a lot of punches and all kind of things, but if they're controlling the position from the bottom and preventing me from getting effective strikes, if they've got me locked up in the guard very tight, it can be difficult for me to get anything off from there. So while it may look like that I'm dominating the action, in reality, I'm controlling the position. It's even the same way on top. When I was working with one of my students today, he's very, very good at scrambling. Good stand-up guy. If he gets taken down, I've trained him a lot for scrambling from the feet and getting back up to his feet. Well, I got him down today, and I was able to control the position from the top. And I was pretty much, by controlling his far arm, because he likes to roll his belly and scramble up to the feet, and I was controlling the far arm on him. Well, that was all it took to hold him down. I didn't have to do anything else. If I control the far arm, if you can't get your far arm free, how can you roll to that side? You can only go so far, right? So he's constantly struggling trying to get free, and I'm just sitting there holding him. And he's working. And, I just finally told him, I said, you can work all you want to, but I got position. It's the same when we started doing jiu-jitsu, what they used to always tell us was there's no submission without position. Position first, then you go for the submission. In the strategy of chess, I'm thinking 3 moves ahead to dominate this guy. And that's fine. But when we think about from a positional standpoint, you're really trying to play the game of Go. You're trying to control the territory, which is the person that you're trying to get on the ground, right? You're trying to control where they move. We see the same thing even in stand-up. If you watch a lot of boxers are very, very good at dominating territory of the ring. If you take a guy like, say, Floyd Mayweather, he may not do a lot, but he dominates the ring from a positional standpoint. The other guy may be throwing a shitload of punches, but Floyd is very, very good at controlling the territory of the ring. So even when he's in the pocket with his hands down, the guy's trying to dominate him, and he can't do it because Floyd is always in the correct position to not be hit. So he doesn't have to be faster. He doesn't have to be, a stronger puncher. He just has to be in the right place at the right time. And that is essentially the strategy that the left has been using. They've been using this strategy for quite a long time. And until we understand that while we think we're playing a game of chess with these people, man, they don't give a shit about numbers. That's never been the case. Even when you go back to like the Bolshevik Revolution. When the Bolsheviks took over, man, they were a small minority. but they put their people in the right places at the right time to make the right moves and start converting the minds of the other people. And before you know it, what do you have? A communist takeover, mass genocide. That's the way the game is played. You know, if you look at that, that's the reason that you see things like, the whole aspect that we hear about with COINTELPRO, right? COINTELPRO is a program that was used by the FBI to put in people into certain protest groups to, let's just say, cause a little bit of trouble, right? And, COINTELPRO guys, they could get in there, get in the right place, the right time, with the right people, stir shit up, and before you know it, you've got a violent protest on your hands that was organically created by the very people that are supposed to be trying to stop it. It's a common thing. And, you're just conspiracy theory shit. No, guys, look up COINTELPRO. Very, very simple. So, it's important for us to understand these strategies, guys. It really, really is. I mean, this is the game that's being played. It is. Oh, man, I tell you, it blows my mind. It blows my mind when I learned about the strategies of Go, it blew my mind to see how the communists play it. And that is why it's so important to work on the next generation, to enlighten them to these games that are being played. Don't just teach them to play chess, teach them to play Go as well. They'll probably become a better chess player in the long run. But there's certain things that we can do. We don't have to literally play the game, obviously. There's certain things we can do to strengthen the next generation for what is coming. By employing the strategies that the enemy uses against us, reverse engineering and using them against them. With the next generation, I mean, let's be honest. What I was talking about earlier, strength, right? Getting trained, getting in shape. You need to do that. I mean, let's be honest. With the sponsor I was talking about earlier with Aaron Cable. I mean, and like I said, you guys can find that on the web, on the barbarianlounge.com. It'll be in the show notes here. But Aaron Cable, man, that's a good place to start. You've got a female that has the ability and the strength to train them, right? To get them strong, to get them eating healthy, so they're not eating that garbage that's out there, right? Someone that understands what it's like to be strong, understands what it's like to be a fighter. I mean, if you're not going to use that, which I would definitely recommend you do, but if you're not going to use that, man, start doing things yourself. Start making little changes for yourself. It's very simple. It's very simple if you're willing to make the moves. But most of us, man, we're just content on playing a game that's we don't even know the rules of it yet. So how do we start taking territory back? Right? Well, I already told you from a media aspect, this shows like this, we're taking some of that back from them right now. Why do you think they've attacked this show already multiple times? There's plenty of shows out there that aren't getting attacked, but guess what? Man, I ought to take a fucking screenshot of some of the death threat emails I get. I mean, fuck, man, I don't like to give these people any thoughts whatsoever that I'm even acknowledging their presence. But if you don't think people don't give me some shit about this show, and me, I'm like, hey, fuck, I'm not hard to find. Come find me if you want to fuck me up. Good luck on it, though, right? But I mean, shows like this. That's why it's so important to support broadcasts like this right here. I mean, we're out here doing what a lot of people aren't willing to do, putting ourselves out here. We risk a lot to fight back against this system that is content on seeing us silenced. They're trying to use these pieces of the board that they're already controlling. They're trying to shut us up. But God damn it, I won't be quiet. I won't be quiet. Education system. Fuck it. Start inoculating your kids to this bullshit now, because the only way to really start silencing these people, other than walking into the schools and dragging them out in the street and putting a bullet in their fucking head, the only way to keep these communist professors, the only way to keep them from spewing their garbage, is for the students to start standing up against them and telling them, no, you are wrong. Most students don't feel confident enough to do that. That's why you have to start inoculating your kids now. Or you can even take the more bold route and tell them, you know what, fuck college. You don't need college. You don't need college. You can be successful without it, but you're going to have to work your ass off. Start instilling a work ethic, teaching these kids that, these systems of higher education, you don't need them to be successful. I cannot tell you how many successful people I know that said fuck college. But if we can start inoculating our kids to this and letting them understand that you know what? We're going to start moving some pieces. This is how we move pieces around. We're going to start teaching our kids the truth about things. Educate them at home, man. If you can homeschool, hell, all the better. Some of the wisest kids, wisest students I've even had in the world of martial arts are kids that were homeschooled. Because they have a natural bullshit meter. So when they see when somebody comes to them and says, "Oh, this is the way," they go, "Fuck out of here with that." From a local government standpoint, I will be perfectly honest with you. That may be a route for some people. I don't see local government as a way of truly making any long-lasting changes. That's just me. I'm very, very cynical of joining the beast in order to defeat the beast. A lot of people think they can get inside these organizations and change them. Most of the time, that's completely incorrect, because usually the beast is so large it ends up changing you in the process. I would say the easiest way to start inoculating yourselves and your family, the next generation of this, is informing them of what they can do to start building their own communities. Build your own communities, your own underground economy, right? Things that don't depend on the system. So the whims of the government do not affect you in the least bit, because you've already been preparing for them in the long run. And a lot of times, man, most people just aren't, again, willing to do the work. Because let's be honest, this isn't easy. This isn't something that you just, go, well, I think I'm going to start a group today. Trust me, folks, it is not that easy. And I know on the members broadcast, a couple, I don't remember what episode number it was, but I talked about, how you find your tribe, how you're going to build your tribe, and certain safeguards, especially when you're building a group like this. The dangers. A lot of people like to talk about tribe, but nobody likes to talk about the dangers of tribe, and some of the problems that can arise from that. Because a lot of times we have to be careful. I've seen many people that have tried to start tribes, and that tribe slowly morphs into cult, and we don't want that in the long run, okay? Maybe we need to have a guest on the show to talk about cults. Here I'm digressing on air, but I had a conversation earlier this week, about an hour and a half long conversation with someone who had been in a cult. And I was talking about some of the dangers I've seen in some of the groups, martial arts groups, certain other tribal groups. And as I'm telling them some of the dangers, like, they were literally completing my sentences for me. It was very, very crazy. I was like, whoa, that's eerie. But maybe I need to get them on the show, man. That would probably be pretty interesting, to say the least. So, we can start building our own communities. We can start changing things in our own lives. Start disconnecting from the system. That's very, very important. I mean, these are simple things, guys. We can do them all. It's not difficult, okay? When it comes to the entertainment world, I mean, again, it's difficult to put our own people in those sorts of positions. But again, we've got to think about the inoculation process. I think the constant understanding by the next generation that these people are not worthy of the idolization that a lot of people give them, the idolizing that we see. A lot of people say, well, I just won't let my kids watch TV. We'll do that, and I'll keep them away from all that. I'll tell you right now, that's not the answer. I know that seems like completely backwards ass thinking, but it's not the answer. What we have to actually think about is, let them see these things, but let these be teaching moments. Let these things be teaching moments. How can we take what we see here and use it as a method to teach the next generation of how these certain things, when we see the glorification of the weak man, the mocking of masculinity. When we see these things, we have the ability to talk about them. Most people aren't even willing to sit down and start talking with the next generation about this, but we have to. I have these conversations in class a lot of times when I'm teaching students, and I'll bring something up and we'll talk about it. And it's something that can be organically done. It doesn't have to be a lecture every fucking time you're watching, whatever TV show it is you're watching. But, we have to understand, when some stupid shit happens, right? And it's being glorified as, that's the way we want to be. No, we have to explain to them why this is absolutely not what we want to have happen. I think that a lot of people use the complete disconnection mentality, and I have found just through my own life in general and raising a child is that's not the way to go, because it's going to be kind of like this forbidden fruit thing. And as soon as the kid gets out of the nest, they're going to start going right back to it again. Okay, they're going to want to see why couldn't I watch this? And then there's nobody there to really explain to them what they're seeing. Okay, so there's things we can do, guys. I mean, as I said, right now, you guys know, when it comes to this show, I'm not the guy to feed you bullshit. I'm not the Baghdad Bob of the right wing here, okay? I'm not the guy that's saying, we have the Americans on the run. They will not defeat us, as shit's blowing up behind me, right? If you don't know who Baghdad Bob is, look it up on YouTube. It was basically a newscaster, an Iraqi newscaster that was explaining how the Americans are being defeated as the Americans are blowing shit up behind them. So, I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy to say, we've got the left on the ropes and we're going to beat him. We have to understand exactly what they're doing. And I don't think most people do. They don't understand the strategy game. They're just looking at the whole dominate the chessboard thing. And I'm telling you, when you look at the way, like, especially look at Vietnam's a classic example of how controlling of territory led to the U.S. pretty much being at a stalemate with these people. And they ended up winning in the long run. Technically, yes, we pulled out, you can say, well, there wasn't no winner. Well, there wasn't no fucking, there was definitely a loser, but there wasn't a winner. They kept doing their thing. They had the right people in the right positions at the right time to cause enough trouble to control enough territory on the board, and the chess strategy of domination was not and did not work. I'm here to say that the chess strategy that we're trying to employ on the right wing versus the communist left is not going to work in the same manner. We have to start looking at the aspects that they use in the game of Go and applying that strategy concept and using that to defeat the left. That's the only way we're truly ever going to be able to win this fight. It is. Until we understand what game we're playing, there's no way that we have the chance to win it. Right? If I have you go and compete in the sport of curling, right? The sport of curling. If I have you compete in the sport of curling, I say, you know what? Here's a fucking broom. Show me how to do this. You're not going to be able to win the game because you don't know how to play the game, right? That's what we're looking at here with the strategies used by the left. So, part of defeating them is understanding the game. Now that we understand the game, we can start applying these strategies and counterbalancing these strategies. It's just that simple, guys. It's literally just that simple. There's things you can do to start counterbalancing, and there's things that you can do as a community and things you can do in your own lives. Each and every one of us is responsible for our place on the board. They can't dominate the territory if we're there to push back. It's the same as in the game of Go. When they're taking territory, you can put your pieces in position to block them. You can put your pieces in position to capture them. That is what we need to do here. That is what we need to do. Because there ain't no sacrificing of pieces in this game. You don't sacrifice a pawn in the game of Go. You lose territory. So this is why that I get so upset when I hear the president, who's established a strong territorial position. He's established a very strong territorial position on the board of the United States here. Very, very strong position. when I see him willing to sacrifice a little bit of territory to appease the other side, who has no intention whatsoever of ever coming to the side of the good side, I guess you could say, to our side. When I see the president do that, that's why I have a problem with this. Like, oh man, because people say, oh, it's just a little bit, just to give them a little bit of concession and, maybe appease them a little bit. That's equivalent to sacrificing a pawn. Who gives a shit about a pawn, right? It's just a pawn, don't worry about it. But that's not the game they're playing. Why do you think when the left gets a little bit, right, when we give them just a little bit, why do you think they want a little bit more? Because they don't look at it as sacrificing a pawn. They look at it as taking territory. They have territory, a little bit of territory on the board. Now we're going to start building on that. We're going to take more territory. So we have to become wise to this, fellas. We have to become wise to the game that is being played. Understand the strategies that are being employed by the left, and we can use those and re-engineer them to use back against them. So when we see them making territorial moves, we can put our pieces in position to block them. This is the game we need to play, folks. Because as I've said many, many times, these strategies, you and I, we're far gone for them. That next generation, that's what they want. And by controlling these territorial markers on the board, they are putting themselves in position to win the battle of the next generation. Till there's no more moves to be played. That's how Go is won. When there's no more moves to be played. And he who controls the most territory wins the game. That's what they're playing here. But hey, there's good news, folks. Because now, if you listen to this show, now you know the game. Now you know how to play it. Now you know how to win. They're probably fucking shitting their britches right now. They're probably shitting their britches. Holy shit, Odinson just exposed the game that we're playing. What are we gonna do? There ain't much you can do, guys. There ain't much you can do, because here I am, and you guys know that they're not gonna shut me up. They're not gonna shut me up. That's why they're in fear. That's why they want to attack us. That's why they want to shut us down. But they failed before, and damn it, they'll fail again. Because that's what we do here. That's what this is about. This is about exposing the strategies of the left, re-engineering them, and fighting back the way we know how. And I do that with your support, folks. I do. Alright, guys, I'm going to wrap this show up, man. I hope you guys enjoy it. I've been wanting to do this show for a good while. I think it's a very, very important show, and I urge you to share it. I urge you to talk to other people about it. Talk to them about these strategies, because this is the game, folks. You're not going to hear this shit on a lot of other shows, because most people haven't looked into it very deep. But we have to. We've already got the rules. I give you the rules to the game. So it's time to get out and start playing. It's time to get out and start playing. Remember, folks, check us out at barbarianlounge.com. Go there, man. Click that donate button. Support the show. Buy a thug cord in the shop. Become a member. Support our sponsors, OdinsonArchery.com, Aaron P. Cable. Check them out, man. You can find that Facebook page, Aaron Page Cable. As I said, I will attach this flyer to the show. I'll also post it on our Facebook page for the Barbarian Lounge podcast. And go there, man. You can start the path to strength. You can start the path to learning to become a better you. Because let me tell you something. In a world of beta culture, that's like the silver bullet to kill that fucking beast. Alright, guys, take care. I hope you guys enjoyed the broadcast. As always, I enjoyed being here. So now, my fellow barbarians, this broadcast of the Barbarian Lounge is closed.